Alrighty, good morning, good morning, good morning, and maybe it's good afternoon or good evening if you're watching the replay. Shout out to the hashtag replay gang. My name's CJ, and in today's NBA live stream, we're going to be taking a look at some points, some assists, some rebounds, some PRA, some three-point makes, some free throw makes, and some blocks and steals over on PrizePicks. Thank you so much for joining me here. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on. You guys absolutely came through clutch yesterday. What I mean by that is I set two goals for you. One was to get to 5,400 subscribers yesterday. You smashed it. You knocked it out of the park. The other goal was to get to 200 or more likes on yesterday's video. Smashed it, knocked it out of the park. And I said if you guys were to do those two things, that I would give away some free entries on PrizePicks. Well, listen, I'm a man of my word, and I'm doing it. What you have to do is join Discord. Down in the description of today's video, there is a link to join Discord. Head on over to the announcements channel. I put an announcement up in there this morning. And then head over to the giveaways channel and simply tap the little party reaction to get entered in to win. I'm giving away 3 free entries on PrizePicks to win $100 today as a thank you, as a token of gratitude for you coming through clutch with the 5,400 subscribers, with the 200 plus likes on yesterday's live stream. So congratulations ahead of time to those who end up winning. I call it Free Entry Friday. I'm giving away 10 free entries to Patreon members, and then 3 entries are up to grab for anybody who's inside Discord, Patreon members or members alike. So up for grabs, 13 different free entry picks up for grabs to win $100 a piece. So yeah, congratulations ahead of time to whoever ends up winning those. That entry, that giveaway will be going till 7 p.m. Eastern time today. And then you will automatically be notified if you won. You don't need to DM me or anything like that asking, did I win? It'll let you know if you won. Now, if you win, you'll get a DM saying, go ahead and DM CJ Curry, which is me, your email address for PrizePicks so we can get that free entry loaded onto your account. All right, so that's kind of how it works. That's what you can expect. But yes, 13 free entries to win $100 to be given away today on Free Entry Friday. 10 of those entries, like I said, allocated to Patreon members. If you want to join Patreon, you want to join a part and be a part of a community who's focused on PrizePicks, trying to help each other win. Listen, we don't have, the answers, the secrets to success every single day. We're not going to win. All of our picks aren't going to hit every single day. But down in the description below, there's a link for you to join Patreon as well. If you want to be a part of a community of like-minded individuals who are just grinding it out, man. We're just trying to find those dubs day in and day out over on PrizePicks. You can join Patreon down there. All right, so that is the announcements. Those are out of the way. Shout out to Hunter Scott. We got Travis A in the building. He says, what's good, boss? Let's get the bag. I agree with you. Moody Clips, shout out to you. Jimmy C, thanks for joining me once again this morning. Joshua McGrath, any locks tonight, fellas? Well, listen, there's never, ever a such thing as a lock. People will tell you, this is a lock. No, okay? It's a lock whenever it actually comes to fruition. Whenever the pick actually hits, then it's a safe time to go ahead and call it a lock. Until then, anything and everything that can happen will happen in this crazy game of PrizePicks and NBA player props, okay? So nothing's ever a lock. As sure of a bet or as sure of a pick as it looks like, it could also fail you too. I think we've learned that the hard way. Everyday Fantasy, good morning to you, the Patreon gang. This will indeed be a winning happy hour Friday for all of us. Let's get it. He makes a good point, folks. At 1 p.m. Eastern time, there will be happy hour over on PrizePicks, which means the minimum entry amount is lowered all the way down to $1. That's right. You can play an entry on PrizePicks for as little as $1 instead of the normal entry amount, which is $5. That's typically the minimum entry. So yes, happy hour is going on today. So shout out to Everyday Fantasy, aka my man Don P111 for mentioning that. Donato says, what's up, CJ? Let's get this money today. I love the energy. Drew Breeze, Patreon gang in the building. Shout out to you, Mr. Breeze. Let's have us a good Friday. Salute back to you, my friend. Salute. Aaron Rodgers is in the building. He's here every single morning. Appreciate you tuning in, man, and locking in with us. He asked me yesterday, he said, so are you ready for some MLB streams? And I said, oh, maybe. We might have some MLB streams. I'll put it to you that way. Definitely would not override what we're doing with NBA. I'm much more of an NBA fan than an MLB guy. Maybe, okay? We'll keep it at a maybe for right now. King United, shout out to you. Thanks for being here. King Chris, good morning. He says, it's finally Friday. That's right. Finally Friday. Ty, shout out to you. Joshua, I said my hellos to you. Punchline, good morning, gang. Good morning to you. Jimmy Green says, good morning, everyone. Bent my finger trying to dunk on that like button. My boy dunked on that like button. I need you to dunk on that like button too. Let's try to go for 200 likes once again. Mark H, shout out to you. Fellow Floridian, not former Floridian, but fellow Floridian, not former. Shout out to you, man. You flex, I flex back. Love it. Leroy's in the building. Let's go, Caveman CJ. Listen, just because, you know, I got this eyebrow ridge and my big deep head and my beard and everything, you don't have the right to call me a caveman, but I'll take it. I actually like being called a caveman. Kyle says, still having a tough week, hoping to turn it around here for the weekend. Smash the like coming in to the live stream, people. Yes, Kyle, I agree with you, man. I added it up and I was like, man, I got a whole lot of 1 out of 2s on my 2-pick powers lately. I might have to start flexing a little bit till things kind of, work themselves out. Either that or I got to go even harder into the stats, into the research and find those gems. I got to find them gems. Jonathan Bishop's here. Emo's here. He says, what's up, family? I need a good Friday after the week I've had. Let's get green. I hear you, man. It's been a rocky week. Very volatile week. I don't know what's going on. D-Train 448's in the building. Got a good speed. Free entry Friday. That's right. That's right. Make sure you drop into Discord. Like I said, link down in the description below. The Discord's free for you to join. You don't have to pay anything. You just go down there, click the Discord link, head on over to the announcements channel. Read what I've posted there and see what you need to do to go ahead and get set up to be entered in to win a free entry over on PrizePicks for $100. Blue Pump says, what's up, CJ? Thanks for the help, my man. Well, thank you for being here and thank you for the support. Markel. Oh, shout out to you, Markel. What's up? What's up? CJ says, let's run it up. Or Bout it says, let's run it up and start the weekend off right. Love it. Love it. All right, gang. Love all you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Christian on Patreon, he's asking, on Patreon, do you show your picks? We have built a community of people who show all their picks. It's me and everybody else in there. We got a whole channel set up of picks. It's called Post Your Picks, okay? Where anybody can go ahead and post their picks, myself included. So to answer your question, yes. Anything that I play, for the most part, I put up there. Unless I just feel like it's like too volatile or something like that, then I won't post it. I'm just like, I'm going to keep this one to myself because I don't feel so confident in it. If I'm going to lose, I want to lose alone. I don't want to bring anybody else along for the ride, that sort of thing. But yeah, everything's in Patreon, man. I have no secrets, nothing to hide. So to answer your question, Christian, yes. All right, let's get down to business here, gang. Slap that like button. Let's get things started. We're going to be running through today's NBA slate. Pretty big slate of games, man. We got, 10 games tonight, I think I saw? And we're starting it off with a good one here. The Minnesota Timberwolves at the Orlando Magic. We got 234 points on the board, 8-point spread in favor of the road team, the visiting team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Orlando, my squad. It looks like they've got Markelle Fultz listed as a game-time decision. Over on the other side, Anthony Edwards, Taurean Prince, Jordan McLaughlin, and Jared Vanderbilt, all game-time decisions for them. So some pending injury news that could be rather impactful, mainly speaking of Anthony Edwards. So keep an eye out on him. If he does not play, then that would be a bump for guys like D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns, of course. So moving it down here to the 7:30 games, the Los Angeles Clippers at the Atlanta Hawks, 228.5 points, 6.5-point spread. Lots of injury news for the Clippers. Nothing really detrimental or impactful or different than what we've seen in the past. Same group of guys that have been out are out again tonight. On the Atlanta side, they look fully healthy. So we got a pretty decent total at 228.5, 6.5 point spread in favor of the Atlanta Hawks. Moving it down to 7:30, Detroit at Boston, 215 on the board, but it's a 13.5 point spread, so be very careful with this game. Detroit is dealing with a long laundry list of injuries. Isaiah Stewart, Frank Jackson, Hayes, Diallo, Magruder, Smith, all these guys are out for Detroit. They're running a pretty thin squad here, but they got most of their key components in place, thankfully. So Cade Cunningham will be out there, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, and the newly acquired Marvin Bagley III is projected to start. On the other side, Boston not really dealing with too many injuries. They got Nesmith out. But not really worried about that. What I am worried about is the spread in that game, so be careful with a big blowout situation there. 8 p.m., Charlotte Hornets at the New Orleans Pelicans, 226.5 points on this one. Nice total, 3.5 point spread. 3-point spread. Gordon Hayward and Bo Knight are still out for Charlotte. Over on the New Orleans side, it looks like CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, both out tonight. So it's going to be a very interesting lineup for the New Orleans Pelicans here. I don't know how Charlotte doesn't win this game. It'll literally be like Jonas Valanciunas with Devontae Graham as like the two big stars for the New Orleans Pelicans. Charlotte better win this game. That's all I'm saying. Moving down to the next one, Dallas Mavericks at the Houston Rockets, a duo here of Texas teams, 225.5. 225.5 on the board, pretty healthy total, but the spread is 10.5, so that is a little bit concerning. Looking at the injury news, keep an eye on Luka Doncic. Game time decision right now for Luka. Obviously, if he is out, that means a major shakeup for the Dallas Mavericks. You might end up seeing a big bump for guys like Jalen Brunson, obviously. Spencer Dinwiddie would be in the starting lineup probably for Luka if he ends up sitting out. And then on the flip side of this game, Houston, Eric Gordon, Dennis Schroeder, Jayshawn Tate, and Christian Wood, all GTDs, game time decisions. So lots and lots of injury news to keep an eye out on from this game. Moving it down to the next one, 8 p.m. New York Knicks at Memphis Grizzlies, 229. Nice total, but it's a 9.5 point spread in favor of Memphis. So they expect Memphis to win this game pretty handedly here. For the New York Knicks, we've got Derrick Rose, game time decision. RC Diacano. I can't say his name very well. He is a game time decision. Taj Gibson and Obi Toppin, both game time decisions as well. Quentin Grimes, Cam Reddish out for the rest of the year, by the way. Kemba Walker out for the rest of the year, and Nerlens Noel all out for the New York Knicks. But on the Memphis side, looks like Dylan Brooks is a game time decision. We got Xavier Tillman and Tilly. So a couple of pieces of injury news for the Memphis Grizzlies in that one. But that one looks like it could end up being a blowout as well. 8 p.m. Cleveland Cavaliers at the Miami Heat. I remember once upon a time when this game meant something. And what I mean by that is that, LeBron obviously started his career in Cleveland, went to Miami, but, that was then, this is now. Cleveland and Miami, though, two of the better teams in the Eastern Conference, 211 points with a 6.5 point spread. Very low scoring game here. The total at 211 means this game is probably going to be a slow pace type of game. So be careful taking overs in this game. Colin Sexton, Jarrett Allen, Karis LeVert, three very impactful pieces of injury news for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They will surely be missing those three. Over on the Miami side, Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, both game time decisions with Markieff Morris. He's still out due to the Nikola Jokic whiplash. So very low scoring game, 6.5 point spread, kind of an ugly one at first glance. 8:30 p.m. Utah Jazz at San Antonio, 229.5, 5.5 point spread. Bogdanovich is going to be out for Utah. He had actually been playing pretty well, scoring the basketball really well, his first half points especially. So he's out. Looks like Daniel House Jr. is projected to be starting at the 3 spot. So keep an eye on that situation. San Antonio, not really anything too crazy going on with them. Primo, Bates, Diop, both game time decisions, but otherwise they're going to have their full complement of players. Like the total and the spread leads me to believe that things should stay close and competitive. 9 p.m., Toronto at Phoenix, 223 on the board here, 5 point spread. No OG Anunoby, no Johnson or Flynn for the Toronto Raptors. On the Phoenix side, Sarge and Kaminsky, same old. But CP3 and Cam Johnson still out for Phoenix. So it'll be Cam Payne manning the backcourt, running point for the Phoenix Suns. So that one looks like a pretty fun game as well. 10:30 p.m., the last game of the night, the Washington Wizards at the Los Angeles Lakers. We got 229.5 on the board, 4.5 point spread. Keep an eye on Neto. He is a game time decision. He's been playing pretty well lately in place of guys like Spencer Dinwiddie and Bradley Beal being out, doing his thing. Over on the Lakers side, LeBron James, Talen Horton-Tucker, and Frank Mason, all game time decisions. Of course, the Brow, Anthony Davis still out for the Los Angeles Lakers, and Kendrick Nunn out as well. So there you go. That is the full rundown of today's slate. Let's get right into some of these props. We're going to start things off as we typically do by looking at props.cash. $69.99, guys. $69.99 to get you the rest of the NBA season on props.cash, or if you want to take it month by month, use promo code Curry. I've provided a link in the description of today's video. You'll get 25% off your first month of props.cash. Also down in the description of today's video, a 100% instant deposit match is awaiting for you over on PrizePicks. If you don't play on PrizePicks yet, now's a great time to do so. My favorite way to play daily fantasy sports and player props is right here on PrizePicks. So if you want to deposit $100, they're going to give you $100 on top of that, giving you $200 to carry you through the rest of the NBA season. So with that being said, we're signing into props.cash today. We're going to start things off by looking at their player prop trends page. And this can be very helpful to sort of narrow down the slate. Honestly, on a big slate like this with 10 games, there's a lot of different teams, obviously, players and props. So we're going to try and narrow down the scope, the focus, by looking at just the hit rates for the last 10 games. We want to see guys who are getting it done at a high hit rate. Another thing that you could do, though, if you don't want to look for guys that are going to go over tonight, you could also look for potential unders by looking at the lowest hit rates if you prefer. So two different ways to approach it. Of course, life's too short to play the overs. That's the motto that I live by. So we're going to be looking for some overs on today's board. So let's do just that, starting things off here with a couple of guys at a 70% hit rate. There's quite a few of them today at 70%. Let's talk about DeAndre Hunter of the Clippers. He's at 12.5 points. He's not a name that a lot of people probably click on, but DeAndre Hunter maybe should be worth considering with his high hit rates at just 12.5 points. He's been getting the job done, especially in the last 4 games. So DeAndre Hunter, over the last 10, you can see what he's been up to here. 7 out of 10. He's averaging 13.8 for the season. And especially in the last 5 games, you can see 16 points per game. DeAndre Hunter not really being impacted by the return of John Collins whatsoever. He's been getting the job done. Has not played the Clippers this season. Looking at the matchup against the Clippers, first glance here, there's a lot of red and yellow on the board, meaning difficult matchup on paper. But let's dig into it a little bit further. We're going to look at the DVP, defense versus position. We'll look at the last 7 games. We'll go find the Los Angeles Clippers and see how many points they're giving up to opposing small forwards such as DeAndre Hunter. So we go down a little ways. They're giving up about 20 to 21 points per game, which is plenty of room for DeAndre Hunter to hit the over. Plenty of upside. They're giving up about 21. He needs about 13 to get the job done. So not a very difficult matchup. And then last but not least, we're going to pull up a projection for you to see what the action projection tools are looking like on DeAndre Hunter's points. He's projected for 15.4, gang. That is nearly 3 points higher. So the projection model's liking the over on DeAndre Hunter, and the betting public agrees. They think that taking the over on DeAndre Hunter is the best route tonight on his 12.5 points, minus 130 odds on some of these sites. So there's DeAndre Hunter for you. What about Fred VanVleet, another popular option, at least in the past? He had missed some games for Toronto, but now he's back in the mix, back in the lineup for the Raptors. And today he's at 20.5 points, facing a Phoenix Suns team without Chris Paul. So it'll be Cameron Payne, probably matching up with Fred VanVleet here. And am I worried about Cameron Payne's defense? I am not. Are you guys worried about Cameron Payne's defense? I don't know. I don't think you should be, though. Anyway, let's go take a look at VanVleet. Like I said, he's missed some games recently, but now he's back in the mix, and he's playing pretty good basketball in the last couple of games. We look at Fred VanVleet, last 10 games, 21.2 points per game. Last 5, 20.6, and you can see what he's done in his last 2, especially 24 against Atlanta, 26 against San Antonio. This game against Charlotte, where he had just 8 points, that was his first game back in 11 days. You can see what he played on February 14th. Obviously, we had the All-Star break. He missed some time. Kind of slow to get back, maybe to get his legs back under him. But the last 2 games, he's been very good. Very good. We look at this game that he had against Phoenix. One previous matchup back on January 11th, he did drop 21 points, just enough to get over the 20.5 hump. So he did cover in one previous matchup versus Phoenix. Now, a lot of these defensive metrics for the Phoenix Suns, I would say, are somewhat skewed, we'll just call it, because obviously Phoenix will be without Chris Paul tonight, without Cam Johnson tonight. So a little bit of a different situation for the Phoenix Suns. Maybe they're a little bit weaker on defense than what we've seen in the past. We'll go to the point guard position. We're going to go find the Phoenix Suns and see how many points per game they've been giving up to point guards in the last 7 games. 21.7, so that is more than the 20.5 that Fred VanVleet is currently set at. So that means there is some room here, some upside for Fred VanVleet to potentially hit the over. But you can see where Phoenix ranks, probably one of the bottom 10 most difficult matchups for point guards when it comes to scoring points. Nonetheless, let's get you a projection here. Fred VanVleet is projected for 19.9 points. Let's just bump that up, call it 20 projected points. Really close to the 20.5, but slightly under. But you can see the betting public is not discouraged by this projection. They are taking the over. So definitely cross-reference these projections on other sites. Like I said in the past, NumberFire, RotoWire, Betting Pros, they all offer free single stat player prop projections. You can see how this 20-point projection, we're calling it 20, it's 19.9, we're calling it 20. You can see how that kind of lines up with some of these other projection sites and projection models. But again, betting public liking Fred VanVleet to go over at 20.5. As I mentioned, there's a whole lot of people on here today hitting at a 70% hit rate, but I think Terry Rozier is going to be an interesting one. Like we talked about, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, both out for the New Orleans Pelicans, which means probably a slightly easier matchup here for Terry Rozier and the rest of the Charlotte Hornets today. He's at 20.5. I want to say that he was at 21.5 in recent days, so we're getting like a point of discount here on Terry Rozier's points. So let's go ahead and bring him up on props.cash. His line by default on props.cash is set to 21.5. We'll knock it down to 20.5, but it doesn't change his hit rates at all. He's still at 70%. So looking at Terry Rozier's points here in the last 10 games, 24.2, much higher than the 20.5. And then in the last 5 games, also 24.2. And you can see that he's very rarely in his last 10 games does he have 2 bad games in a row. He's pretty good at bouncing back. He had 5 against Miami, came back strong with 23 against Toronto, 17 against Milwaukee, came back strong with 29 against Cleveland. So maybe tonight, after a dud against Boston, his former team, maybe he comes back strong tonight. This seems like the type of game, type of matchup where Terry Rozier could possibly excel. Looking at previous games versus New Orleans, there are none. He has not played them at all this season. This will be the first time that he faces off against the New Orleans Pelicans. We're looking at their defense here, and you can see that they're just middle of the pack. And the way that I'm able to tell that quickly is by the yellow here. Most of their defensive metrics are in yellow or green. So it's not going to be an overly difficult matchup for Rozier, especially when you consider McCollum and Ingram are also out tonight. Taking a look at the DVP, defense versus position, Rozier, for my money, is the shooting guard, not the point guard. LaMelo Ball, the point guard. So we scroll down and we find the New Orleans Pelicans. They're giving up, let's see, about 17.7 points per game to shooting guards in their last 7 games. That is the 4th fewest. So on paper, the matchup looks tough here. But again, this is not the normal cast of characters from New Orleans. They will not be quite as good without McCollum and Ingram. Moving it forward, getting you a projection on Terry Rozier. 20.2 is his number. At 20.5 points across the board here, you can see he's projected to go over on DraftKings. A couple of the other books, people are betting the under. But like I said, Terry Rozier seems to be one of those types of players who typically is resilient. In other words, he bounces back after a bad game. So maybe he does so again tonight. Game is expected to kind of stay close and competitive as well. So I'm liking that. Hopefully it does not turn into a blowout situation. Looking at some of these other ones here, obviously DeJounte Murray has been absolutely hot, but he's going up against Utah. That's kind of a tough matchup. You got Cade Cunningham, another guy who's just been balling out of control. Maybe we look at Cade Cunningham. Super, super hot. I think I played his PRA the other day, and he ended up coming through clutch for me. But today he's going up against Boston, so the matchup probably not the most friendly or easiest in the world. Well, I guess we can't look at Cade Cunningham. He's not, is he? Oh, yeah, there he is. Cool. He's up on the board. All right, let's take a look at Cade then. Like I said, just been playing fantastic basketball lately. You can see what he's done in his last 5 games. 20 points, 22 points, 20 points, 28, and 22. I mean, 5 straight games where he's covered 19.5. I don't know that he can keep doing it forever, but in the last 5 games, he's definitely been getting it done, averaging 22.4 points. We look at the matchups against Boston. He's played them twice this year. Both of those games were recent matchups, February 16th, February 26th. He covered at 20 and 25 points respectively, averaging 22.5 versus the Celtics this season. Looking at the matchup here, you can see Boston, a lot of red on the board. Very difficult matchup. They do rank just 13th against opposing point guards, so maybe there's a little bit of hope here for Cade Cunningham to hit the over. We go down and we look at the Boston Celtics. They're giving up 25.1 points per game to point guards in their last 7 games. That's actually a pretty high number for a backcourt that features the likes of Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown. They are giving up quite a few points to point guards, so if you wanted to go with Cade Cunningham, he's not in the most difficult matchup today. It's actually kind of a soft one. Last but not least, we'll pull a projection up for Cade. Got him going for just 17.6 points according to the action projection tools, but we're seeing some mixed results on some of these sports books. We got 2 sites that are betting favorites to go over, 2 sites that are betting favorites to go under. So it seems like the public is a little bit torn on Cade Cunningham. Are you guys taking the over on Cade Cunningham in his recent hot streak, or are you going to take the under here at 19.5 points? Maybe you're just going to fade it, but it looks like the public is just all over the place with Cade Cunningham. 2 for 2 against the Celtics, riding a 5-game hot streak where he's hit the over on his 19.5 points. He's been playing very good. I think he's going for that Rookie of the Year. What do you guys think? So we've talked plenty about points. I'm sure you guys will have some more questions as we get to the end. Let's go ahead and move it over to the assist category. You guys make sure that you are hitting the assist button for me. My assist button is that thumbs up. That lets me know that you're enjoying the content, that you want me to keep making more of this style content. I can do it for you. I can keep showing up and doing this for you daily. But you got to hit the like button. Let's get the word out there, the message out there. We're trying to help as many people as possible. We want the live viewers to receive help. We want the people that are viewing the replay to receive help. So you got to keep smashing that like button to keep the message going. Keep it flowing. All right, looking at some of these assist props here. The guy that's at the top of the board is RJ Barrett of the New York Knicks at just 3.5 dimes, 80% hit rate. So you know we got to talk about RJ Barrett. Anybody who's hitting it at an 80% hit rate is definitely worth consideration. The question then becomes, is the matchup a favorable one? Is it one where he can get the job done? Yes, the hit rates are there, but we also want to look and see if the matchup's a favorable one. Is it a situation where RJ Barrett can kind of keep things going? So we look at for the season, he's averaging just 2.9 assists, but things have really picked up in the last 10 and last 5 games, especially 4.7 assists over his last 10 games. But in the last 5, 5.2, 7, 6, and 5 in a lot of these games. And he's got a couple of games where he just barely limped over at 3.5 assists with 4 dimes. We look at a previous matchup against Memphis. They did play back on February 2nd. He only had 1 assist in that game, though, so not a very good showing for him there. But we know all the injuries the New York Knicks are being faced with. He's going to have to step into a larger role. Maybe more ball handling duties are in his future once again. In terms of assists allowed, the Memphis Grizzlies are giving up the 21st most. That's 25.2 assists per game this season. But we talked about it. The total between these two teams is healthy. It's the spread that's a little bit concerning at 9.5. Moving it forward here, looking at RJ Barrett, we're going to look at both the shooting guard and small forward positions and see how many assists Memphis is giving up. Well, the shooting guards, they're giving up 5.4. That's the fourth most. So the matchup looking pretty friendly here for RJ Barrett as he needs just 4 assists tonight. We look at the small forward spot as well. Memphis giving up 4.4 assists. So again, RJ Barrett, high hit rates and the matchup looking pretty good. So maybe that's an overplay worth considering at 3.5 dimes. Last but not least, let's pull RJ Barrett up here. He is projected for 3.2. Not really worried about the projections so much. They've been wrong in the past. It's not the end all be all. Just because the projection's higher or lower doesn't mean that it's actually going to happen. So, use it as a part of your research, but don't use it as the only part of your research. Is that fair to say? At 3.5 assists, the betting public taking this over on every site available. Minus 130 odds is the best that we've seen. Are you guys liking RJ Barrett's assists? It looks like Leroy's on some RJ Barrett assists. He's going to take the over from what it looks like, dropping a thumbs up. Dropping a thumbs up, indicating the over on RJ Barrett is in play. Cool. Love it that you love it. Some other guys that are hitting their assist props. I've seen you guys talk about Marcus Smart, but his assist prop is starting to get up there, man. It's really starting to swell. It's up to 6.5. I remember when this guy was at like 4.5 at one point earlier in the season. Now he's at 5.5. Now he's up to 6.5. So Marcus Smart tonight going up against the Detroit basketball team. Let's go take a look at his assist prop. You guys are mentioning it. It is hitting at a high hit rate, but 6.5 is starting to get up there. But I can understand, looking at his game logs, I can understand why it's starting to get up there now. We look at the last 10 games, 7 out of 10, so 70%, 6.9 dimes on average. But the last 5 is where things get really, really good here for Marcus Smart, especially in the last 3 where he's dropped 12, 9, and 9 in 3 straight games. So he's definitely been dropping a lot more dimes here. We look at the previous matchups versus Detroit this season. One game where he's went under, barely at 6. You would have lost to the hook. One game where he's went over at 7. So 1 under, 1 over, 50% hit rate versus Detroit this season. Looking at the matchups here, you could tell Detroit, not a very good basketball team. They're giving up the 23rd most assists, and they rank just 28th against opposing shooting guards. But Marcus Smart, more the point guard, so let's go look at that now. Point guards, last 7 games, DVP. Detroit giving up 9.3 dimes. You can see where that places them, toward the top. And when you're toward the top, that means you're giving up a lot of assists and the matchup's kind of easy. So Marcus Smart is in a pretty friendly matchup for those Marcus Smart assist lovers out there. Taking a look at his projection, it's just 5.8, which, yes, is less than 6.5 at 6.5 assists. The betting public not so optimistic on the over for Marcus Smart. They're actually betting the under today, minus 130 and minus 135 respectively. So maybe they're looking at it as a situation where it blows out and maybe Marcus Smart doesn't fulfill his minutes obligation to hit the over at 7 assists or more. So just be careful with that game. Again, blowout implications are definitely very real from that one. Some other guys here that are hitting at a pretty high clip. You got Alec Burks at 70% for New York. I think for my money, I'd go RJ Barrett, but Alec Burks probably in a conversation as well. Some other guys hitting at 60%. You got Crowder, DeJounte Murray, Jakob Poeltl, Vassell, Wagner, Bridges, Brown, and Jackson. So if you guys have any questions on any of those, definitely leave them for me at the end around the 1 hour mark, and then we'll start getting into those. But for now, let's flip it on over to some rebound props, the ones that are really standing out in terms of hit rate. Got a couple of bigs on the board, no surprise. Your top rebounders are usually your tallest and biggest players. So let's talk about those. We got the likes of Ivica Zubac of the Los Angeles Clippers up at 8.5 rebounds. He's up on the board at 80% as far as his hit rates. 80% hit rate. He's going up against Atlanta tonight. So Clint Capella, John Collins will be the matchup for Zubac. Let's go ahead and take a look at him. He could be kind of a mercurial player. And what I mean by that is sometimes he's hot, sometimes he's not. He can get into foul trouble, turn the ball over, and just make a lot of mistakes. And then Ty Lue usually just freaking yanks him out of the game. So he's got to play clean basketball in order for us to trust him tonight. Like I said, he's going up against Atlanta, Clint Capella, but you can see what he's been up to. I mean, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games, he has just been smashing the rebounds. Ever since they shipped Serge Ibaka out to the Milwaukee Bucks, I think Zubac has really stepped into a more larger role, more of a focal point for the Clippers. So at 8.5 boards, at 10.1 in his last 10 games, 9.6 in the last 5, and you can see what he's done against Atlanta. Back on January 9th, my boy had 13 big rebounds against the Atlanta Hawks, so not really concerned about him being able to get it done in this matchup. He's faced the likes of, Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson, Looney, Gafford, Howard, Christian Wood, and Alperen Şengün. So he's had a string of really easy matchups here in the last 6 games. So definitely worth noting that tonight's matchup probably going to be a little bit more difficult. But again, he did have 13 boards against Clint Capella and company. I think Capella was in on January 9th. I have to go double check, but he did have 13 rebounds against the Hawks. Moving it down, looking at the matchup, Atlanta's defense, they ranked 10th in rebounds, 9th in offensive, and 11th in defensive rebounds. So, not the easiest matchup in the world on paper. Taking a closer look at this, we'll go to the center spot, we'll go to the rebound category, and we'll go find the Atlanta Hawks and see how many boards they're giving up to opposing centers in their last 7 games. 14.5. He needs 9. So they're giving up quite a few rebounds. I know their rank is sort of middle of the pack, down toward the bottom, but this isn't a matchup that we have to worry about in terms of like fading this prop. It's not like they're the most stingiest team in the world when it comes to rebounds. So let's get you a projection on Zubac. They got him at 8.9 rebounds. We can bump it up to 9. Just call it an even 9. And at 8.5 boards, it looks like on 2 out of the 3 sites we can reference here, the betting public is putting their money down on the over on Ivica Zubac tonight. Are you guys taking Ivica Zubac over 8.5 rebounds? Like I said, 13 against Atlanta the last time these two teams met, riding a 6-game streak of hitting overs on this 8.5 number. I think Zubac is in a decent spot to potentially get it done once again. The next guy we got to talk about is Robert the Time Lord Williams. Looks like Ricky is liking the over on Zubac. King Chris is liking the over on Zubac. Cool. Robert Williams, Boston Celtics big man, having a fantastic season. Kind of quiet, unless you're playing daily fantasy sports and betting on props. We know Robert Williams has been smashing, but I think the public overall might be sleeping on this big guy. But anyway, I digress. He's at 11 boards today on PrizePicks. It looks like he's at 10.5 on some of these other sites. Let's go ahead and pull him up here. Robert Williams in a pretty good spot tonight against a beef stewless Detroit Pistons team. What I mean by that is Isaiah Stewart is out for Detroit. It's going to be sort of an undersized Marvin Bagley III, probably manning the middle. Maybe we see some Kelly Olynyk. Not really worried about either one of those guys against the beast that is Robert Williams. Looking at his last 10 games, gang, 80% hit rate at 10.5 rebounds. But if we bump this up from 10.5 to 11, things change. You get some things that were hits now turn into pushes. So he had 11 against Brooklyn, 11 against Indiana, and 11 against Charlotte. So there's a chance that my man here might end up in a tie or a push. Last 10 games, 11.4 rebounds. Last 5, he's averaging exactly 11 boards. Now against Detroit, he's faced them twice. He hit 11 boards on the dot on February 4th. He faced him again February 26th, had just 7 rebounds in that game. So I wish this was at 10.5. I'll just leave it at that. Moving down and looking at this matchup here, Detroit, again, not a defense, not a team that we're really all that afraid of. They ranked 24th in total rebounds, 14th and 26th in offensive and defensive rebounds, and just 25th against opposing centers. So matchup-wise, this is a fantastic matchup. We go look at how many rebounds that they're giving up to centers in the last 7 games, and go find the Detroit Pistons. They are giving up 12.5, so actually doing a pretty good job over the last 7 games. I wonder how many of those games were with Isaiah Stewart, though. Obviously, he's out, so that's probably going to shake things up here. And, then again, maybe they face some rebounders who weren't very good. I think Robert Williams is a good rebounder. But the third fewest rebounds, nonetheless, by the Detroit Pistons. Let's get you a projection here. I got the Time Lord, Robert Williams, at 10.8 rebounds. I think he might have started the day off at 10.5. He's been bumped up to 11.5 at 11.5 boards. It looks like the public is betting the under at 11.5, and I can't blame them. This is really setting up to be one of those situations where it's very, very realistic for him to land on 11 boards and you end up in a tie or push. But his projection is at 10.8. Julian says, I'd fade Williams. Who else is liking Robert Williams, or are you taking the under? Thumbs up if you're going to take a shot on the over for Robert Williams. Thumbs down in the chat if you think you're going to take the under. But yes, Robert Williams is known as the Time Lord, for those of you who didn't know. That is his nickname. It's not a good nickname, by the way. He was given that nickname by Boston Celtics coaches and staff because he was notoriously late to meetings and things of that nature. So they gave him the name Time Lord. Again, not a nice nickname. It's not a compliment, okay? It's to help him to remember to stay on time. You guys seem to be all over the place with Robert Williams, though. You guys are saying thumbs down. Most of you are saying thumbs down on Robert Williams. We got one believer leaving a thumbs up for Robert Williams. Ricky's Bangles. I don't know how to say your name. We'll just call you Ricky. Ricky's liking Robert Williams over 11 rebounds. I got you. All right. Some of the other guys here are hitting at a pretty high rate. Nick Batum, surprisingly, at 4.5 rebounds, has a 70% hit rate in his last 10 games. Can't say that I'm clicking on Nick Batum's name a whole lot. I know that my guy here, Terrence Mann, he's also been hitting his rebound prop at a pretty high clip. You got Alec Burks of the New York Knicks at 5.5 rebounds. Burks has been getting the job done as well at a 70% hit rate. Otherwise, a lot of these guys on the board are at a 60% hit rate. So it gets pretty ugly quick after Zubac and Williams at 80%. You got Batum and Burks coming in, so at 70%. The rest of these guys are like 60% or worse. So if you have any specific questions on them, I'll take those at around the 1 hour mark. Otherwise, let's keep it moving here. We'll talk about some PRA and get through the rest of the PrizePicks board for you. PRA last 10 games. Who's been hitting at a high clip? Well, there's a number of different guys here. We got Robert Williams, who we just talked about for his rebound prop. He's also hitting his PRA at a 70% hit rate. Let's talk about DeJounte Murray, who has been just Mr. Consistent for the most part, having a fantastic season. DeJounte Murray, 38.5 PRA, man, that is very low. Listen, I know it's Utah. I know it's a difficult matchup, but when this guy's under 40.5 or so PRA, when he's at 38.5 PRA, I just have to take a look at him. And so let's do that now. Going up against Utah, we're talking DeJounte Murray, the all-star point guard. All-star point guard, at least in my mind, he's an all-star. DeJounte Murray, 38.5 PRA, not the easiest matchup. You can see what he's done at 39.5 PRA, 7 out of 10, 70% hit rate. Let's bump him down to 38.5 and see if things change. Not really, right? Still at a 70% hit rate in the last 10 games. Where things really pick up for DeJounte Murray here is over the last 4. So we look at the last 5-game view, 4 straight now. He's gone for 48, 44, 44, and 46. Now, I will say this. You look at some of the games that he's done this. Sacramento, not a very intimidating team when it comes to defense. Charlotte, not the most difficult team when it comes to defense. The Lakers backcourt, come on, we already know. Not a team that we are steering clear of when it comes to playing players against them. And then the Toronto Raptors, not all that great defensively themselves. So it is worth noting that these matchups here have not been very difficult for DeJounte Murray. I would go out on a limb and say that today's matchup against the Utah Jazz is going to be quite more difficult. So looking at previous games against Utah this season, he does have one. He finished with 38, exactly 38 PRA, which you would have lost by the hook based on today's prop of 38.5 if you took the over. So did not get it done, but came damn close, very close against the Utah Jazz. Moving it down here, you can see how the Jazz rank 10th in total points, 2nd in rebounds allowed, and 4th in assists allowed. So difficult matchup, okay? Difficult matchup. Go to the point guard spot. We got the Utah Jazz. Over the last 7 games, they're actually giving up quite a few PRA to point guards. 29.5 points, about 8 rebounds. So we're already at 37.5 PRA. And then 7 assists on top of that. So about 44 PRA allowed in their last 7 games to point guards. My man Murray here is at 38.5. So there is a room for upside here, a ceiling here, some ceiling for DeJounte Murray in this matchup. Especially if the game is projected to stay close, which I think this one was at, 5.5 points? Closer than I would have expected. 229.5 total with a 5.5 point spread. So San Antonio is going to have to play some of their best basketball in order to hang around in this game. Let's go ahead and pull up the PRA here for Mr. DeJounte Murray. I got him projected at 37.8, really close to 38.5, but not quite enough to go over. Again, cross-reference these projections. This is just one source. You should be looking at multiple sources when it comes to these things, whether that be projection sources, sports books, taking a look at the lines on different books and stuff like that. Definitely a good idea. But anyway, one book has him at 38.5, and we're seeing the public take the over, minus 120. Are you guys taking the over on DeJounte Murray tonight? Like I said, he had 38 against Utah the last time he faced them. Came really close. He needed just one more assist, rebound, or point, and he would have hit the over. So DeJounte Murray at 38.5. Again, anytime I see him under 40, I'm definitely taking a long, hard look at DeJounte Murray. And I think you should too. Looking at some of these other guys for PRA, Kevin Huerter, not a name that we talk about a whole lot. Kevin Huerter, 15.5 PRA today. He's hit in 70% of his games, and I think he gets a pretty decent matchup against the Clippers tonight. But let's take a closer look at a guy like Kevin Huerter, or as I like to call him, the Red Rifle. Now that's, I think is that Andy Dalton's nickname, the Red Rifle? Anyway, Kevin Huerter, 15.5 PRA, 70% hit rate. He's been doing a really good job, especially in his last 5 games at getting the job done here. Last 5, averaging 17.8. My man's at 15.5. The only game he didn't hit was against Washington. That might have been the game where he ended up leaving early. He left a game early recently due to an injury or something like that. That might have been the one. I'm not sure. Anyway, against the Clippers, he's faced them just once this season. Ended up with 15. Kind of like DeJounte Murray, like we just talked about, who ended up with 38. His prop line is 38.5 today. Kevin Huerter ended up with 15. His prop line for PRA is 15.5. Again, you would have lost to the hook. Brutal way to lose, by the way, when you need just one more of something to get the over. It's the worst. Anyway, matchup-wise, Clippers, 11th in points, 28th in rebounds, and 13th in assists to opposing teams. So not the most difficult matchup in the world. We're going to go look at the shooting guard spot, which is where Huerter spends most of his time. You got Hunter at small forward, Huerter at the shooting guard spot. And then we're going to go find the Los Angeles Clippers here. Clippers giving up about 19 points, about 5 rebounds, so that's like 24, and then 4 assists, 28 PRA roughly, and he needs 16. So, definitely could get it done here. Could get it done. Not an overly difficult situation for him. His projected PRA, 17.7. When you add up the points plus the rebounds plus the assists, they have him projected at 17.7, so that's an over by 2.2. And then the public, putting a little bit of confidence, a little faith here in Kevin Huerter. They are betting the over as well. Minus 120 and minus 115. Red Velvet? Is his name Hunter? Is his name really Red Velvet? A nickname is Red Velvet? I don't think I knew that, man. That is a cool nickname, Red Velvet. Smooth. You know what I'm saying? Red velvet, smooth. I like that. So anyway, Kevin Huerter looks like he's in a pretty decent spot, and my boy's been getting it done. Pretty high hit rate for him as well, 70%. Now, we talked about Terry Rozier just a little bit ago for his points, but his PRA should also be considered at 30.5 PRA. On props.cash, he's covered in 70% of his games, but he's at 29.5 on PrizePicks. So definitely think about maybe some Terry Rozier for points or PRA. Same thing with Cade Cunningham, another guy who's been hitting his points and PRA prop at a pretty high clip, which kind of leads me to believe that these guys are scoring dependent. In order for them to hit their PRA, most likely they will have to be hitting their points props. So Cade Cunningham, another guy who's been hitting his PRA at a pretty high clip. Why don't I see him? I can never find Cade Cunningham. There he is. So yeah, at 30.5 PRA, he's at 31.5 on props.cash, but at 31.5, 70% hit rate. So Cade's another guy to worth looking into. Let's talk about Jason Tatum. It's been a minute since we've talked any Jason Tatum. He's another dude who's been smashing his PRA, and he's been playing some very good basketball lately. So we got to talk about Jason Tatum against Detroit tonight. Now, this game does have major blowout risk at 14.5 points. So if you're going to take anybody in a full game format, make sure it's a guy who's high usage like Jason Tatum, okay? That is a fair warning. But at 40.5 PRA, he has covered this in 8 out of 10 games. If we bump it up, though, watch what happens. It goes down to 70%. Slightly lower hit rate at 41.5, which is his number on PrizePicks. Looking at the last 10 games, 45.4 is his average. Last 5 games, things are shooting up in a big way. 48.4. Looking at that 5-game view, you can see he had 48 against Atlanta, 48 against Memphis, 62 PRA against Brooklyn, and 52 against Charlotte. So he's definitely been balling. Looking at his previous games against the Detroit Pistons, he's actually gone over in just 1 of 3. The most recent matchup against the Pistons, he did have 43 PRA, which was enough to get him over the hump. So again, just be careful with Jason Tatum, being that, this game could blow out. Detroit, though, they rank 23rd in points, 24th in rebounds, and 23rd in assists. It's green in all 3 categories, so the matchup, not one that we're really concerned about. We go find the Pistons here. They're giving up about 23 points, about 7 boards. Let's call it 30 PRA so far, and about 4 assists. So about 34 PRA to opposing small forwards in the last 7 games. Not very encouraging when you see a guy who needs 42 PRA, and especially given the fact that this game is a 13.5 point spread. Anyway, let's get you a projection on Jason Tatum. I got him going for about 42 PRA, which is coincidentally what he needs today to hit the over. At 40.5 on most sports books, we are actually not getting a point of value on PrizePicks. He's actually a point higher on PrizePicks than he is anywhere else. But at 40.5, he's a minus 125 betting favorite. So are you guys feeling confident in Jason Tatum over 41.5? He's been red hot. I'm just concerned with the blowout a little bit, that maybe he doesn't get enough minutes to hit the over. But then again, if they do blow out the Pistons, you'd have to imagine that Jason Tatum is a major contributor, major factor in that blowout for the Boston Celtics. Anyway, just something to think about. Some other guys getting the job done at a 70% hit rate. We got DeAndre Hunter, who we've already mentioned for points. Jay Crowder is a guy we have not talked about. Jay Crowder's been doing pretty good stuff without Chris Paul and company in the lineup. Let's talk about Jay Crowder for a minute. He is going up against the Toronto Raptors. Let's pull him up on props.cash. So the Toronto Raptors, they've got some pretty good guys out on the wing, guys like Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, most likely going to be the guys who are covering Jay Crowder tonight. Long, athletic, defensive-minded type of players, versatile players. Might be trouble for Jay Crowder, but let's look at it a little bit closer here and dig into these numbers. So he's 7 out of 10, 70% hit rate. The last 10 games, 20.7 PRA average. The last 5 especially good, 22.6. So he's covered in 4 out of 5. Now against Toronto, he's faced Toronto one time. It was back in January 11th. He had 27 points, rebounds, and assists against the Raptors. So he has shown, despite what might be a difficult matchup, an ability to hit the over on his PRA at 19.5. So we go down and we look at some of the defensive metrics for the Raptors. They do rank 9th in points, kind of difficult. 16th in rebounds, not so bad. And 18th in assists, not so bad there either. They do rank 7th in power forward defense as well. We move it over here to Fantasy Pros. We're going to look at this DVP chart like we've been doing. We're going to go find the Toronto Raptors. We have it sorted by team name. They're giving up 21.2 points, about 10 to 11 rebounds. So that's already like 31 to 32 PRA. And then, 3 assists on top of that. So, 34, 35 PRA. Mr. Crowder here needs just 20 to get the job done. So doesn't look like an overly difficult matchup by any means against the Toronto Raptors. Last but not least, let's get you a projection for Crowder. I got him going for 18.8. If we're feeling generous, if we're feeling kind, we can bump that up to 19 PRA. 19 PRA would not be enough for him to hit the over at 19.5. But again, this is just one projection site, one projection source. Cross-reference this, go look at some other sources. But at 19.5, I do have him as a betting favorite to go under. The public not so optimistic on Jay Crowder. They think with their money that he is going to go under. Are you guys liking Jay Crowder at 19.5? Thumbs up or thumbs down in the chat. Jay Crowder, kind of an interesting pick, interesting case. Anyway, we've talked some points. We've talked some assists. We've talked some rebounds. We've talked some PRA. Let's move it on over to the 3-point category. Who's been taking the most threes and making the most threes and hitting their overs from beyond the arc? Speaking of hitting from beyond the arc, let's go ahead and hit that like button for me, gang. Your boy staying hydrated. He's going to get a sip of water. While you smash that like button, I'm going to smash this water, and then we'll talk about some of these 3-point props on the board. And if you're just getting here and maybe you missed the announcement, it's Free Entry Friday. What does that mean? It means I'm giving away a bunch of free entries. I'm giving away 10 free entries on PrizePicks to win $100 to Patreon members. So if you're not a Patreon member, maybe you want to become one. There's a link down in the description of this video. You can sign up for Patreon. It's just $20 a month, meaning you win one $10 2-pick power play and the $20 is paid for, okay? You get access to a community of like-minded individuals who are focused on prize picks and player props, okay? That's Patreon. I'm giving away 10 free entries to win $100 on PrizePicks to Patreon members. But I'm also doing something that's available to anyone who is not a Patreon member. If you're inside Discord, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. If you're not, link down in the description. Go get signed up and join Discord. Discord's free. Don't have to pay anything to be a Discord member. Just join the Discord. Head over to the announcements channel. I'm giving away 3 free picks to win $100 on PrizePicks. These are up for grabs for anybody inside of Discord. This could be a Patreon member. This could be just a regular member of our Discord community. 3 free entries to win $100 on PrizePicks. I'm giving them away. Okay? So join the Discord down below. Head over to the announcements tab. Take a look at the announcements and then head over to the giveaways channel and get entered to win. That free giveaway, will end at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So you have until 7 o'clock tonight to join Discord, go enter the giveaway. And I'm going to be doing these every Friday. Free Entry Friday is not going anywhere. I plan on doing this every Friday for both Patreon members and Discord members alike, okay? So we're going to do some free entries and give them away today for all of you supporters. People who are supporting through YouTube, through Discord, through Patreon. I want to give back. Got a new partnership with PrizePicks coming soon. So, finding ways to give back to you people. That's what it's about. All right, 3-point props. Let's talk about them. Jason Tatum, 2.5 3-point makes, 70% hit rate. We're not getting them up on the PrizePicks board just yet, but keep an eye out. Maybe they add them later on in the day. Al Horford at 1.5, 70% hit rate for him as well. Donovan Mitchell at 3.5 3-point makes. No Bogdanovich. So maybe Donovan Mitchell takes and makes a few more threes tonight. Jeremy Grant is one that we can talk about. Hopefully we get Donovan Mitchell on the board. But anyway, Jeremy Grant at 1.5 3-point makes. 70% hit rate for him. He's going up against Boston tonight. So let's take a look at Jeremy Grant of the Detroit Pistons. He doesn't need a whole lot of threes. He needs just 2, in fact. So a very doable number at just 1.5. Over the last 10 games, a 70% hit rate. He's averaging 1.8 makes for the season, 2.1 makes in the last 10, 1.8 makes in the last 5. And against Boston this season, he's played them in 3 games. He's covered in 1 out of 3. He had 1 on February 4th. He had 4 on February 16th. And then on February 26th, 0, blank, none, zilch, nada. Okay, so now you kind of know. Looking at this Boston Celtics team, they've given up the 9th most 3-pointers allowed. They give up the second most or second lowest 3-point field goal percentage in the league. So it's kind of a difficult matchup for 3-point shooters. Now, Jeremy Grant, small forward, power forward. We're going to look at both positions, but kind of a combo forward. You've heard of combo guards. I think Grant's kind of a combo forward. So the Pistons are giving up about the Celtics are giving up about 2.1 3-point makes to opposing power forwards in the last 7 games. You can see where that ranks Jeremy Grant. Pretty decent matchup. We go to the small forward spot. Go find the Boston Celtics. They're giving up 2.2 to small forwards. Again, Grant needs just 2. Puts them like toward the middle of the pack. So the matchup, not so scary when you look at small forwards and power forwards and sort of how many threes that Boston's given up to both spots. Pulling up a projection here, I got Jeremy Grant projected for 1.8 3-point makes. He is a pretty big betting favorite right now, guys. The public is smashing the over on Jeremy Grant. Minus 145 odds to go over 1.5 3-point makes. Are you guys liking the over on Jeremy Grant at 1.5 threes? Busy Brown doesn't seem like he's buying it. It seems like Busy Brown is wanting to take the under on Jeremy Grant. He doesn't believe Jeremy Grant's going to hit 2 threes. Are you guys rocking with Busy Brown, taking the under or just potentially fading Jeremy Grant at 1.5 3-point makes? Interesting. Very, very interesting. We talked about Luka Doncic being a game-time decision. Dorian Finney-Smith at 2.5 3-point makes has hit this in 60% of his games. Not seeing any Dorian Finney-Smith up on the board. They do have Reggie Bullock on the board, so maybe you go to Reggie Bullock if you can't get Dorian Finney-Smith tonight. Some other ones, Kevin Huerter, 60%. Jay Crowder, 60%. Not seeing those guys up on the board. So, a lot of these players on the board are going to be 50, maybe even 60% hit rate guys, kind of low hit rate guys. So you're going to have to pick and choose your spots accordingly. Free throw makes, we've talked about these in the past. I won't go too in depth on them, but I'm looking for high usage guys. Give me the guys that are going to have the basketball in their hands the most. Give me guys that are going to be aggressive in attacking the hoop, looking to draw fouls the most. I don't want guys who are going to be camping out at the 3-point line, playing passive, in other words. And then when they get to the free throw line, I need them to be a quality free throw shooter, somebody who's going to be hitting their free throws at a high percentage. Also looking for those guys who are the designated free throw shooters for their teams in technical foul situations or late game situations when the game comes down to some of those intentional foul moments. I want guys that I know are going to be force-fed the ball by their team because they're good free throw shooters. Guys like Trae Young fit that bill. Ja Morant, Luka, if he plays, he fits that bill. Darius Garland, always a high usage guy. RJ Barrett, very high usage lately. DeJounte Murray. Maybe Donovan Mitchell's usage shoots up a little bit because of Bogdanovich being out. Okay, so those are some of the guys that I like going to. LeBron, obviously, he's in the mix as well. Always in the mix. And then looking at blocks and steals, they do have quite a few different blocks and steals options up on the board today. Some of these guys are better than others, obviously, hitting at a higher clip. Terry Rozier, I think, is one guy that could be interesting at 1.5 blocks and steals. We already talked about the New Orleans Pelicans probably starting Devontae Graham and, I don't know, whoever they start at shooting guard. Is it Herbert Jones? Drawing a blank. It's nobody that great, right? Nobody that amazing. Anyway, my point is the quality of players in the backcourt for the New Orleans Pelicans, probably not all that good. Probably more like turnover prone type of players. Is it Tony Snell? Is he starting? Anyway, Terry Rozier could probably find himself in a situation where he collects a couple of steals or one steal, one block. So let's look at Rozier real quick. Got some good information on Terry Rozier thanks to props.cash. If you want access to this, props.cash, links down in the description below for you to get signed up at a discount, 25% off your first month. But you can see what Rozier's been up to as far as blocks and steals. It's very sticky fingered here since February 17th. He's hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of his last 8 games at 1.5 steals and blocks. And in the last 5, things even better, averaging 3 steals and blocks in that span. No previous matchups against New Orleans for us to take a look at. So we'll go over here, go to the shooting guard spot, find the New Orleans Pelicans, and see how many steals and blocks they've been giving up to shooting guards. Well, they're highlighted green for steals here. They're giving up about 2 steals per game and about 0.6 blocks. So he's in a pretty decent spot here against this Pelicans backcourt. Now you remove McCollum. Now you remove Brandon Ingram. I think the matchup gets even better for Terry Rozier. So he's definitely one to keep an eye out on. Going back to this trends page here on props.cash. Anybody else standing out? Jeremy Grant, not up on the board today. He's a super high hitter when it comes to steals and blocks, though. So in the future, keep your eye out on him. Nobody else is really catching my attention a whole lot. Yeah, most of these guys are probably going to be like 60%, 50% hit rate type guys. So maybe Rozier's kind of the creme de la creme, if you want to say that. But anyway, that's it for me, guys. Let me know what picks, what props you guys are liking. I'll take a few of them, and then we'll wrap this thing up and let you go start slapping the entries, man. Lots of different names being mentioned here. Oh, shout out to Chaos Kicks, by the way, for subscribing to the channel. Appreciate that, my friend. Some Kuzma talk, some Westbrook talk. Trey Prince is mentioning that he likes some Cade Cunningham even against the Boston Celtics. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Like I said, Cade has just been fantastic. Russell Westbrook might actually hit his points and or PRA. Facts. Westbrook might have lowlights, but he's consistently getting to 16 to 17 point mark, and that's normally where his prop is. Okay, I've seen enough. I've heard enough about Russell Westbrook. Let's take a look at him and see what you guys are talking about. Russell Westbrook, I'm not even seeing him up on the board right now. Is he in limbo or something? Is there a reason why we're not seeing Russell Westbrook? I went ahead and refreshed the board. I don't see Russell Westbrook up here. We might still be able to pull him up here using props.cash. Let's take a look. Maybe you guys are saying if LeBron is out, then maybe you go to Westbrook. Yeah, I don't have any information on Westbrook at all. I think we're waiting on some Los Angeles Lakers news. Am I right or wrong on that? I think LeBron was a game time decision. So we can't look into Westbrook, but that's interesting that you guys are pointing out Westbrook for points and for PRA. Julian is saying that his lock picks, RJ Barrett's assist, DeAndre Hunter's points, talked about both of those. We have not talked about Spencer Dinwiddie for points. Luka was a game time decision. He is up on the PrizePicks board, so maybe they expect Luka to play. Dinwiddie not up on the PrizePicks board from what I can see. And you're also liking some Tyler Herro points. I saw some people talking about Tyler Herro. Some love for Tyler Herro, but I don't see him up on the PrizePicks board either. So, maybe later they add him. But he's definitely worth looking at. 6th man of the year contender, Tyler Herro, in my opinion. Isaac M. talking about some Darius Garland. He's definitely worth talking about. Let's talk about some Darius Garland. He's at 22.5 points. Darius Garland, one of the best young guards in the game, in the league. So let's take a look at some Darius Garland here. Pulling him up on Prop.Cash. Once we click in here at 22.5 points, Darius Garland's been covering this in 70% of his games in the last 10. So 7 out of 10. And then he's gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of his last 8. So very good hit rates. He just recently kind of rejoined the team on March 2nd. So since rejoining the team, he's 3 for 4 at covering 22.5 points. Let's see how he's done against Miami this season. Ooh, not so good. It's not looking so good. 16 against Miami on December 1st, 16 against Miami on December 13th. I'm wondering, was Colin Sexton still healthy then? Because once Sexton went out, Garland really started to take over. He really began his ascent after Colin Sexton went out. But anyway, looking at this matchup here, Miami, a lot of red. Some bright spots in terms of matchup is 3-pointers allowed. Miami ranks 25th there and 17th in point guard defense and 18th in free throws allowed. Taking a look at the DVP, the Miami Heat against point guards. How many points are they allowing in the last 7 games? About 21.4. 21.4, which you can see kind of puts him down toward the bottom. So not the easiest matchup for Darius Garland. He has not hit in 2 previous games versus this Miami Heat team. Not even close, really, at 16 points in both of those. His projection today, 21.6 at 22.5. We're not seeing a whole lot of action on this prop, but on 2 out of 3 sites, slight betting favorite to go over, -114 and -115. Aaron Rodgers is mentioning Marcus Morris of the Los Angeles Clippers, his point prop. Let's go find Marcus Morris. Is he up on the board? He is. He is at 14.5 points. He's facing off against Atlanta tonight. Let's go pull Marcus Morris up here and see what you're talking about. You're liking some Marcus Morris. Let's see if we can find out why. Why are you liking Marcus Morris? 14.5 points by default. He is at 15.5 on Props.Cash. So don't be fooled here. You got to make sure you get the right prop line dialed in. So we knock it down to 14.5. His hit rates really don't change a whole lot. Still 40%, 4 out of his last 10. So he's going to be one of these guys that are kind of streaky, really hard to trust, according to his last 10 game logs. He could have a good night. Then again, he's got games where he goes 3 in a row at going under 14.5. So not the most trustworthy player, all right? You know that going into it, though. The last time he played Atlanta, he did have himself a decent game with 15 points, ended up going over. We look at the Atlanta defense. I mean, a lot of green here. Not the most formidable foe when it comes to stopping other teams, okay? So the matchup looking pretty decent here for Marcus Morris. Let's go to the power forward spot. That's where Morris plays most of his minutes. 28 points given up by Atlanta over the last 7 games. That is the second most points. And that's nearly double the amount of points that he needs tonight to hit the over. He needs just 15. They're giving up 28. Okay, so the matchup's looking pretty good here for Morris. Last but not least, projection 16.4, which is more than 14.5. We're seeing him at 15.5 across the board on a number of different sites. So he is a point lower on PrizePicks. We are getting a point of value on PrizePicks on Morris. Now, one of these sites, FanDuel Sportsbook, we're seeing the public taking the over, -114 over 15.5. Couple of these other sites that are taking the under at 15.5, but we're getting him at 14.5. So yes, you are getting a point of value on Marcus Morris, but he's not the most trustworthy guy ever. I think we can agree on that based on his game logs, right? Payze wants to fade Darius Garland. Okay, I feel you on that. I feel you. The Heat, definitely a difficult matchup. He has not played well against the Heat. Trill Fate is mentioning two players here, Kyle Kuzma and Devontae Graham. So Graham is kind of interesting. We don't really have any information on Graham with CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram out of the lineup, as well as his former teammates out of the lineup, Josh Hart and company. But you would imagine that Devontae Graham would have a much bigger role, plus a little bit of revenge narrative if you want to go there. Yes, he was once a member of the Charlotte Hornets. Now he's a member of the New Orleans Pelicans. So he'll be facing his former backcourt mate, Terry Rozier. And who else? LaMelo Ball. At one point, it was the three of them kind of in that rotation in the backcourt. But Devontae Graham now over in New Orleans. So, yeah, he will be thrusted into a much larger role here. Probably forced to score a little bit more, I would think. Let's go take a look at just the DVP here. He's going to be the point guard, primary ball handler, playmaker probably for the New Orleans Pelicans. Charlotte against opposing point guards in terms of points allowed per game in the last 7 games. They're giving up about 26.6 points. He needs 16. So that's like a 10-point difference, what they're giving up versus what he needs. Pretty big differential there. And you know he's going to be in a much larger role without Ingram and McCollum. Let's see if they've got a projection up for Devontae Graham. They do. They have him at 14.7 points against Charlotte tonight, and he is a minus 125 betting favorite, according to the public, at 15.5. So again, this is just one projection site, one source. Definitely cross-reference this. Go out there, compare to some of the other sites that I've mentioned before, and see where they have Devontae Graham. But yeah, I think that one could be interesting. Don't know if I'm super into Kyle Kuzma, just with Kristaps Porzingis on the scene. Kind of probably going to put me off Kuzma just a little bit, but Kuzma versus his former team in LA, he's probably going to look to have a big game or a good game. I think that's fair to say. Let's see. What else are you guys talking about here? Just trying to skim through these. Get to as many as I can. Evan Mobley PRA. We have not talked any Evan Mobley yet, so that could be an interesting one. Jimmy C's talking about some Evan Mobley PRA. Obviously, Jarrett Allen is out for Cleveland. Cleveland also missing a couple of other players, Karis LeVert being another one. So, you know, guys like Garland and Mobley and Markkanen, Kevin Love, you know, all those guys should be thrusted into a much larger role. So, Mobley's PRA is 26.5. He's going to have his work cut out for him probably here against this Miami Heat squad. Just looking at the PRA here for Evan Mobley, what are his chances against Miami of hitting the over? Well, Miami's given up about 21 points to power forwards, about 11 rebounds. So that's like 32 to 33 PRA and 4 assists. So we'll call it like 36 PRA allowed. He needs 27. And we'll also look at the center spot because I want to say that Mobley might be starting at center here recently. Miami giving up about 25 points to centers, about 16 rebounds. So that's already 41 PRA and 3 assists on top of that. You're looking at like 44 plus points, plus rebounds, plus assists given up by this Miami squad. What was the total on this game? 211. Ooh, that's the only part that I don't like. Very low scoring. When they're low scoring like that, that typically means Vegas is accounting for the pace that both of these teams play at. And if it's a slower pace game, there will be fewer possessions. When there's fewer possessions, that means there's fewer shots going up, fewer rebound opportunities, and fewer assist opportunities. So everything is going to be down. So the matchup does look pretty decent for Evan Mobley, but we got to take into consideration that this game total, it ain't all that at 211. Kind of a slow pace, or expected to be kind of a slow pace type of game. So just be careful with Mobley. I do have him projected for 27.6, which is more than the 26.5. But the public, they're taking the over on Evan Mobley here at 26.5. Yeah, Brock, we talked a little bit about Devontae Graham's PRA, or points rather. For me, Devontae Graham will probably need to hit his points prop in order for him to hit his PRA. So I would say that, if you like his points, his PRA is probably going to be in play as well. Mobley rebounds. We just looked at it, Kyle. Matchup wise, I think it looks pretty good. I'm just concerned with the game totals. Dorian Finney-Smith is out. King Chris. Doo-doo-doo. Breaking news. Dorian Finney-Smith has been ruled out by the Dallas Mavericks. Okay. Ooh, so no Dorian Finney-Smith. So, yeah. Who does that help? Maybe your Dinwiddie or your Jalen Brunson or Luka Doncic. I think Doncic was a game-time decision as well. Kevin, thank you so much for leaving what you've left here. He's talking about Kentavious Caldwell-Pope points versus the Lakers. Former Laker Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. KCP's been playing some pretty good basketball lately in terms of scoring. He's at 13.5 points. He's going up against the Lakers, the Lake Show. Let's pull him up. By default, you're going to find him at 14.5 on props.cash. Make sure you bump him down to 13.5. Not that it changes the hit rates at all. He's still at 70%. But yeah, KCP over the last 10 and 5 games, 17.6 points, which is like 5 points higher than his season average of 12.3. And then even better in the last 5 games, averaging 18.2 points. He's hit 15, 28, 19, and 16 in 4 straight games. And he's at 13.5 today on PrizePicks. Looking at previous matchups versus the Lakers, he has not played them this season. So nothing really to reference there. Matchup-wise, Lakers defense not scaring anyone. Not scaring anyone. Going to the shooting guard spot. KCP versus the Lakers. Let's see how many points the Lakers are giving up to opposing shooting guards. You got him and Kispert, the 2 wing players for this Washington Wizards club. They're giving up about 22 to 23 points to shooting guards. Go to the small forward spot. Last 7 games, the Lakers are giving up about 18.4. So either way you cut it, good spot for shooting guards or small forwards when it comes to this Lakers team. I haven't projected for, let's get this dialed in here, 12.2 points, which is less than 13.5. And he's a betting favorite to go under. The public at 14.5 points. Not big believers in KCP tonight. Also, take a look at KCP for first half only. Compare his first half only points to his full game points as far as the hit rates go. He's been pretty good in terms of hitting his first half only. Fabrizio, you're saying that you tried to use my code on props.cash, but there wasn't an option. You didn't see an option to put in a code. Well, send me a DM in Discord, and we'll try to figure that out together off the stream. But it should work, and I know that I've seen a discount code option on props.cash before. But yeah, shoot me a message, and we'll try to get you all sorted out. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, you're saying that Brunson and Dorian Finney-Smith are out. Okay, thank you for the news. Appreciate you keeping me up to speed on what's going on. So we got both Brunson and Finney-Smith out. I would say that probably increases the likelihood of Luka playing. Maybe he plays. Him and Dinwiddie, though, would probably be thrusted into very big scoring roles. Busy Brown, you're liking some Barnes over rebounds. Is that Scotty Barnes you're mentioning? Let's go find Scotty. Yeah, he's at 7.5 boards, if you're talking Scotty Barnes. 7.5 boards. Let's go look at the matchup here. He's going up against Phoenix tonight, so it'll be Jay Crowder, Mikal Bridges trying to keep Scotty Barnes off the glass, and probably some DeAndre Ayton too, right? Looking at the matchup here, DVP is the name of the game, defense versus position. You can see that Phoenix has given up just 6.3 rebounds. That is the 5th fewest, and it's less than 7.5. Let's also look at the power forward spot. Things getting a little bit better there. But depending on what lineup the Raptors roll out, if it's Khem Birch at center, Siakam at power forward, and Barnes at the small forward spot, I don't know. That might be a little bit not favoring Scotty Barnes. Maybe it favors Pascal Siakam and Birch a little bit more. But we just got to see what the lineup's going to look like. But anyway, Scotty Barnes at 7.5 boards. I'll get you a projection to help you out. Barnes projected for 7.8. No action on two out of the three sites that I can reference here, but one site has him as a betting favorite to go under, minus 125. 125. Yeah, I mean, Luka without Brunson and DFS, you got to imagine his usage is going to be insane. I thought Luka was questionable. D-Train 448. I thought he was like a game time decision. Isaac says, Russ might not play because his kid keeps calling him Westbrook at the dinner table. Oh, Lord Jesus. Help poor Russell Westbrook. Help him through it. Yeah, I don't see any Russell Westbrook up on the board. I wanted to talk about him, but Westbrook questionable due to emotional damage. Woo! Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Rogers, you're saying that Luka's not on the injury report. Well, that's good. I mean, he's up on the PrizePicks board, so I'm expecting Luka Doncic to play. You guys are asking about his points. Let's see what his points prop is at. What is it, like 30? 31.5? Not that he can't. But what's the spread on that game? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at it. Where the heck is that game? Oh, there it is. 11-point spread. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take an over on anybody from this game on the Dallas side, make it a guy like Luka, who would probably have to go pretty ham tonight without Dorian Finney-Smith, Tim Hardaway Jr., without Jalen Brunson. Like, you would expect Luka to be a major factor in why Dallas blows out Houston, right? But you could also play it in a first half only format if you're afraid of the blowout. Jaylen Brown under on rebounds. 5.5 versus Detroit. Let's go see what Jaylen Brown's been doing on the boards. Wow. He ain't been doing much, has he? He's went under in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games. He has gone under 5.5 rebounds. But let me guess, it's probably a good matchup, and he's probably hit against Detroit. No, he hasn't really hit against Detroit. Wow. Okay, he's only 1 out of 3 in terms of hit rate versus the Detroit Pistons. So yeah, maybe we go Jalen Brunson. But the matchup is pretty good. They rank 24th in total rebounds, 14th in offensive, and 26th in defensive rebounds. So Jalen Brunson, man, or Jaylen Brown rather, not Brunson, Brown. Shooting guard against the Detroit Pistons, they're giving up just 5.2 rebounds, the 4th fewest. So not the easiest matchup in the world here for Jaylen Brown. Brown, not Brunson. Brunson's out. He is at 5.5 rebounds on every book today. Looks like he's projected to go over at 6.8. That's pretty high versus the 5.5 line. And the public taking the over, minus 120. Douglas says, what's up, CJ? Long time no talk. Been working my off. Lock of the day is Time Lord over first half fantasy. Well, definitely. I mean, you gotta always consider Robert Williams for fantasy points. First half fantasy points. I ain't mad at that. Darian Petty is asking about Ashton. Who is Ashton? Never heard of him. Kutcher? I don't know who Ashton is, my friend. Douglas is liking some Smart over assist. We talked about that one earlier at 6.5 dimes. I don't know about Robert Williams PRA. Time Lord doesn't play as much in the second. Yeah, Robert Williams is a lot better in the first half than he is the second half or full game. So be careful playing some Robert Williams full game, especially in a game that looks like it could get ugly in terms of a blowout. Oh, Ayton, DeAndre Ayton points. There you go. Oh, that makes a little more sense. DeAndre Ayton. Yeah, we all know him. Phoenix Suns big man. You know, this guy. He's at 17 points versus Toronto. Toronto, even if they do start Kim Birch, I ain't really worried about Kim Birch versus DeAndre Ayton. Ayton's been playing some pretty darn good basketball lately. So let's take a quick look at DeAndre Ayton here on props.cash. So when you get to props.cash, he's going to be at 17.5 points, but you can click it down to 17, still at a 70% hit rate, even at 17 points. So it doesn't really matter a whole lot. 17, 17.5 doesn't really shift things, but last 10 games, he has averaged 18 points. Last 5 games, 19.2 points. What's really standing out is his last 3, 30 against Milwaukee, 21 against Orlando, and 19 against Miami. So yes, Devin Booker is back for the Phoenix Suns. I don't know that that's shaking things up for Ayton a whole lot. I mean, he's still putting up pretty good numbers in the last couple of games. Look at the matchup against Toronto. Played them once back in January, had just 16 points against the Raptors in that game. Overall, though, like I said, not a terribly difficult matchup against the Raptors. A lot of their defensive metrics are in yellow here, meaning average, middle of the pack, not too hard, but not too easy. And then the center defense, they rank 29th. One of the worst teams against opposing centers in the league. We go look at the last 7 games. We're going to go take a look at the points real quick. Centers, last 7 against the Toronto Raptors. Raptors are giving up about 19.9, let's call it 20, about 20 points per game. Ayton needs 17 or more to hit the over. So maybe you go there, or maybe you consider DeAndre Ayton for a first half only option too. He's been doing very well for the most part in a first half only. Barrett assists. Yeah, we talked about Barrett assists earlier. I think both of those looked pretty good when we spoke about those earlier. Plumlee PRA. What is it at today? Where's he at? 16-5 against the Pelicans and Jonas Valanciunas and probably some Jackson Hayes. It's gonna be an interesting one, that's for sure. Joe Val and the New Orleans Pelicans. How many points and rebounds and assists are they giving up over the last 7 games? About 22.5 points. That looks good. About 16.4 rebounds. That looks very nice. That's already 38 to 39. We'll call it 39 PRA. And then 4 assists on top of that. So they're giving up 43 PRA. So Mason Plumlee, not in the worst matchup ever for his PRA. 18.6 is his projection. For whatever reason, though, the public not liking it. They're taking the under. They're taking the under on his PRA. Trevor, we talked DeJounte Murray's points, rebounds, and assists. They were pretty low at, 38.5, gang? I think we said. 38.5 on DeJounte Murray is always eye-catching. Anything under 40 and, you get a little excited with DeJounte Murray. But I will say that you got to look at the game logs for Murray because the last several games he's played has been against some pretty weak competition. Fun fact, Mason Plumlee leads the NBA in contact dunks made. Interesting. Guys, for the amount of viewers we have right now, I feel like the likes are a little light. I feel like we could run these likes up a little bit more. If you've not hit that like button yet, I'd appreciate you doing that. Gary Trent points. Are we as interested in Gary Trent with Fred VanVleet back? I don't know. Don't know that I've been looking Gary Trent's way lately. with Fred VanVleet back. I mean, we talked about Fred VanVleet's points. Looks like they've been bumped down. He was at 20.5, wasn't he? They bumped Fred VanVleet down to 20. So does that mean that people are taking the under on Fred VanVleet's points? You're wanting to go Gary Trent, shooting guards, versus the Suns. Suns giving up about 19 points per game to opposing shooting guards. So that's like the seventh fewest. I've got Trent. I've got Trent projected for about 19.7 points. He is at 18.5, so we are getting a point of value over on PrizePicks. So if you like the over on Gary Trent, I mean, you are getting, like I said, a point of value. And it looks like people are betting the over at 18.5. So his projections are good. He's a point higher everywhere else. The public is taking it at 18.5. If only they knew that he's at 17.5 on PrizePicks. If only they knew. Yeah, I think Porzingis is expected to play, Brandon. Kyle says, come on, people. CJ is doing all this work for you. Show your appreciation and smash the like. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. You're right. You're right. I am going in, man. I go in the paint. I ain't like some of these other YouTube channels where they're like, here's my top 5 picks of the day. Here's my locks. Here's my overs, my unders. Like, I'm actually like putting in the work for you guys so that you guys don't have to. Hopefully you guys appreciate that. If you do appreciate it, the like button is your way to show me that you do. Wendell Carter Jr.'s rebounds. I know he ended up getting like benched in the last game and hurt a lot of people because of that benching. But could be a bounce back type of situation here for Wendell Carter. Let's go look at it though. Center position, rebounds allowed by the Minnesota Timberwolves, just 12.2. That's the first fewest. Very difficult, the most difficult matchup for centers when it comes to rebounds. Let's also look at the power forward spot because you know how it goes. It's tricky with him and Mo Bamba. Who's the center, who's the power forward is always the question, but they're giving up about 9.4 boards. So I don't think it's a good night to go Wendell Carter Jr. for rebounds. Just me, personally. I think you can definitely find better value other places. So stay away from Wendell. Their coach is a hater. Jamal Mosley, man. Jamal Mosley. Yeah, he said that the second unit was playing good defense, so we went ahead and gave Wendell some time on the bench. Gave him a little rest. Chris Smith, you're asking about Jay Crowder points, or you're at least mentioning Jay Crowder's points. I think we talked about Jay Crowder for PRA. That's been hitting at a pretty good rate. We did not talk about his points, but he's one of those guys where he's going to have to hit his points most likely for his PRA to hit. He is down to 10 points. Just a couple days ago, he was at 11.5 points. So, he has a bad game or two and his points, they drop. But yeah, I don't think that that Jay Crowder, is in the worst spot against the Raptors. So let's see what his projection's at. Yeah, he's at 10.6 projected points. And he's a betting favorite to go over in 4 out of 4 different sports books, 4 out of 4 different sites. Crowder, let's go look at his hit rates at 10 points in the last 10 games. Yeah, 70%. He had one bad game against Orlando. Otherwise, he's hit his points prop in 7 out of 8. So if you wanted to go back to Crowder, especially at 10 points where you get the option or the ability to push, he had 19 against Toronto the last time he met. So if you want to go back to Crowder, I can't be too mad at that, man. Chris, not too mad at that. Eric Matthew says, run it up. He's talking about them likes, man. Run it up. We run up the likes. We run up the bags. Mr. Ajayi says, I appreciate you. Love from Nigeria. Man, that is a long way from where I'm at here in Tampa, Florida. I'm I'm humbled though that I have this sort of reach, this sort of platform to get out to people in Nigeria. I don't know if you're living in Nigeria or maybe you've come over from Nigeria, but either way, the love from Nigeria is much appreciated. Shout out Nigeria, man. Some of the best athletes in the world today from Nigeria. Isaac saying that the Pelicans are going to be shooting a lot of threes once they get down to the Hornets. Maybe Graham or dare I say Tony Snell. Boy, don't come around here with that Tony Snell talk. Ain't nobody that I know is playing any Tony Snell for anything. We aren't going to Tony Snell. I'm sorry, you can't pay me to play. Okay, listen, everybody's got a price. Maybe you could pay me to play Tony Snell, but I ain't taking Tony Snell with my own darn money. You'd have to pay me to play him. LeBron don't play LeBron, man. Stay away from the Lakers. If there's a couple of teams where I'm like starting to put them on my list, like just don't play anybody. The Lakers are one of them. The Lakers are one of them. Golden State's starting to piss me off. The Knicks have always been a thorn in my side. Man, don't play LeBron tonight. I mean, you can, I guess. Like if you want to, you can. But I'm just saying, like the Lakers are. Sheesh, they're just so hard to figure out. They're hard to figure out. Like unless somebody is like out Westbrook or LeBron, then I just don't like trying to figure out the Lakers, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Because it's always the situation where, well, it's LeBron James. He could do this. We know what he's capable of. But then he goes out there and like gets blown out or something. Like, I don't know, man. Just don't go there. Just don't go there. Yeah, we ain't playing Tony Snell. Not on my watch. Yeah, exactly. Seems like more unders hit for the Lakers than overs. Lakers are a pain. A pain. Reggie Bullock could be an interesting move. I see what you're saying there. They pulled Reggie Bullock's 3-point prop off the board. Yeah, he's gone. Reggie Bullock's gone. At 2.5 3-point makes. But his points are still up. Luka's up, Dwight Powell's up, Reggie Bullock is up for points for the Mavs. Yeah, I mean somebody's gonna have to step up, right? And it's Houston, not a good defense. Chaotic Prodigy, we did talk Ivica Zubac for points already. Or no, we talked about him for rebounds, but he had a pretty good game overall against the Hawks the last time these teams met. So yeah, I think Ivica Zubac is fine. Fine. Sadiq, yeah, we talked DeJounte Murray for PRA. I think Murray for points would have to probably hit for his PRA to hit. He came up one PRA short against the Jazz the last time these two teams took the court. So, listen, guys, it's hour 47 minutes, 48 minutes now into the stream. So I'm going to head out. If you guys are in Discord though, you have questions, you have anything that you're like wanting to talk about, research, whatever it may be. If I didn't get to you in the chat, listen, Discord, that's where we can continue the conversation. If you're in Patreon, you're definitely going to see me in Discord. We are doing the giveaways, like I said, for Free Entry Friday. 10 free entries going out to Patreon members to win $100. And then we're doing 3 free entries to win $100 to anybody inside of Discord. So if you're not in Discord yet, maybe you've got more questions. Maybe you're looking to bounce some of these ideas off of people. Jump in the Discord. It's totally free. It's down in the description below. And again, we're doing giveaways for some free entries to win $100. 13 entries in total will be given away. Make sure you're in Discord. Make sure you get entered to win. But until then, till Monday, that's the next time I'll see you guys. Have a great weekend. Stay blessed. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the support. And I'll catch you then. Good luck on your entries tonight and over this weekend. See you inside Discord. Peace.